77 in Game 4 and 69 for all of Game 3. Let's say 68 in Game 3. Rick Smits with the Rick Smits playing with 4 fouls. Greg Anthony in the backcourt with John Starks, Herb Williams, Anthony Mason, and Charlson up front. Starks looking for the screen. Starks rebounded by Kenny Williams. And Vern Fleming moves down. Fleming and Miller in the backcourt. Here's Miller. Yes, that's a 3 for Reggie Miller. 17 points for Miller. And the Knicks now lead by 9.
And Reggie's starting to chirp a little with some people on the front row. Not at John Starks, but the Knicks, of course, pride themselves on their fourth quarter defense. We'll see.
Oakley, foul. Also caught Fleming in the throat on the follow-through. Rick Smits called for the foul. His fifth. Vern Fleming shake it up. And that's the Indiana trainer, David Craig, checking him out.
Of course, Vern Fleming has had some tough injuries this year. None tougher than when Shaquille O'Neal fell on top of him, and he lost 15 teeth as they went through his lower lip, and also took a gash on his knee for 12 big stitches as Charles Oakley's follow-through trying to catch Vern Fleming right in that throat area, and he's in a lot of pain right now. Rick Smits is just having an awful game, and of course that was a big key for Indiana coming in. Not only has he not scored, he's had the foul problems and 6 turnovers, which got the Knicks started off on the right foot in the first quarter.
And this had been a solid series for the 7'4" Rick Smits. He's played only 18 minutes. Scored only 6 points. The Knicks 72 and the Pacers 61. So Workman now in the backcourt with Miller. Dale Davis up front, along with LaSalle Thompson and Kenny Williams. Hubert Davis, who just checked in, called for the foul. Matt, I believe this is a new playoff record. Most Davises on the floor in a single game. Hubert Davis for the Knicks, Antonio and Dale Davis for the Pacers. We'll have to check out the record book. Miller's pass broken out. And it will be Indiana ball. Let's go over to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, Vern Fleming, as you just called it, took a shot to the throat, and they're applying the cure-all ice to it, and he appears to be fine, and he will be able to come back into the game. Marv?
Reggie Miller is fine. Once again, hits from downtown. He has 20 points, and that Knick lead has been trimmed to 8. And one stretch they led by as many as 16 that was back in the first half. A minute 45 in, fourth quarter. Thompson jumping out for the steal, and that is fouled by Davis. LaSalle Thompson has done an excellent job in very limited time.
And Hubert Davis is having all kinds of problems now with Reggie Miller as he tried to go over the screen, and when you do that, it gives Reggie Miller all kinds of time to line that shot up. You have to follow him hard, and then trust your teammates are going to help you.
Miller comes off the pick. Outplayed by Anthony. Thompson setting the screen. Screen and roll. Thompson picked up by Oakley. Shot clock at 5. Workman. And the rebound handled by Dale Davis. And picked away. Ewing establishing position, but Thompson saw the pass coming, and he does it again.
Well, they're telling the Graf the passes, and they are bounce passes and very slow. And Thompson, who's not the fleetest of foot, is able to get a hand and knock him loose.
Here's Williams. Kenny Williams with a nice move. And the Pacers on a roll have come within 6. Timeout called by the Knicks.
Well, this little bounce pass out here. On the other hand, Patrick Ewing has to protect that passer instead of continuing to fight for that position. Step out and catch the pass as Kenny Williams finishes off the play at the other end.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Film Moment takes a look at recent eventful Game 5 for the Knicks. Last year's conference finals. Knicks and Bulls tied 2 games apiece. Charles Smith with 4 chances to give the Knicks a 1-point lead with time running out, but Smith was stopped, and the Bulls eliminated the Knicks in 6 games. And then the Knicks in the Bulls game 5 of this year's conference semifinals. The Knicks down by 1. Hubert Davis missed the shot, but a foul called on Scottie Pippen with just 2.1 seconds left. Davis hitting both free throws. The Knicks won at 87-86, finished off the Bulls in 7 games. In recognition of those moments, Miller Genuine Craft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. And a 5-second violation call. So it will be Indiana ball. 9:25 remaining in the 4th. And the Pacers within 6. Kept alive again by Dale Davis. Here's Miller. Swings away and hits. Reggie Miller is on fire. He has 22. And Indiana has moved within 4.
Well, it looks like Reggie is going to try to carry that offense on his shoulders. He keeps looking over to that sideline and has a comment after every time he makes a field goal.
This is the closest the Pacers have been since the early moments when it was 7-2. A turnover committed by the Knicks. Patrick Ewing not able to handle that pass from Hubert Davis. Let's go to a live.
During that last time out, Larry Brown telling his players that when Reggie Miller comes off the pick and they double Reggie, he wants to kick it back to the point guard and enable Haywood Workman to take the open jump shot.
Well, Reggie Miller has been getting the open shot in the second half. He now has 22 points in all. Indiana in the midst of a 10-2 run. Down by only 4. LaSalle Thompson with the ball has been a major factor. Miller open again. His foot on the line. That's a 2-pointer. And Reggie Miller in an animated discussion with Spike Lee, who is an ardent Knicks fan and has a courtside seat. I think Spike has him revved up.
Well, he can't get John Starks to talk to him or Hubert Davis or anybody on the Knicks. So he's talking to the fans.
Another Knick turnover. Here's Workman, and he's fouled by Hoffer.
Reggie Miller losing John Starks this time for the wide open shot. His right foot was on the line, and Reggie will have something to say to Spike Lee. A 12-2 run now by the Pacers as Pat Riley, after that timeout, came out with Derek Harper and John Starks not happy at all with the way Greg Anthony and Hubert Davis were defending.
And Reggie Miller has accounted for 10 of the 12 Indiana points here in the 4th quarter. Reggie Miller giving the choke sign to Spike Lee. Spike is appealing to the official Dan Crawford. I don't think that Spike realizes he's not in the game. It does not matter what Reggie does in the direction of Spike Lee. He wants a taunting foul called on Reggie. Reggie's taunting Spike Lee.
After every field goal.
Game tied at 72. 4 minutes gone by. Again, LaSalle Thompson is able to steal the pass. Now, I would think the Knicks would realize that there's something wrong at this point. That's 3 entry passes that LaSalle Thompson has picked off.
Well, it's twofold. It's the passer not getting low enough below the free. Look at this shot.
And he hits it. It's a 3-pointer for Reggie Miller, who again is staring in the direction of, yes, that man. The Pacers lead 75-72 with 7:39 remaining in the 4th quarter.
And good defense by there. You're playing a man 26, 27 feet away from the basket. And Reggie Miller has one idea in his mind right now, and that's shoot the ball every time he touches it.
Would you guess that there will not be a future acting role in Reggie's movie career with Spike? Shot. We talked about that with Reggie Miller.
You know, I don't go out there to start trouble or anything like that, but, you know, in this game, everyone talks. You know, it's just not me. I mean, Derek Harper was talking just as much as I was, but because people think I'm known for it, you know, I'm the one who gets all the headlines for it. So, you know, we're just out there. I call it psychological warfare. Everyone's trying to get an edge. So everyone knows how to play this game physically, but I think mentally is what gets people over the edge.
Well, Reggie Miller has been using what he calls the psychological warfare to his advantage. But for the most part, it has not been with Knick players. The taunting has been with Knick fans movie director Spike Lee.
Well, none of the Knicks players will respond to him, and clearly the Knicks are shaken right now. Offensively, they almost threw that ball away as Anthony Mason had his head turned and having all kinds of problems getting the ball inside to Patrick Ewing. The passer not doing a good job. Patrick not doing a good job of protecting that passer. And you got a man on fire in Reggie Miller right now, so the Knicks are reeling.
Reggie Miller with 13 of his 27 points here in the fourth quarter. LaSalle Thompson has come off the bench and done a superb job. And with that big body, he's also been effective at setting picks to allow Miller to unleash in this fourth quarter. 5 minutes into the fourth. Here's Miller again. Reggie Miller with 30 points, and the Pacers lead by 5.
Well, the whole Pacer offense right now is everybody look to set a screen for Reggie Miller, and he'll do the rest of the work. Work his man off that screen, set up, and shoot the ball. And it doesn't really look like anything you can do right now. He's so far away on the floor to double team him, and John Starks is working very hard.
And remember, most of Miller's points the other day as Hopper misfires on the three. Most of his points came at the foul line. It was 17 for 19. He has not had this kind of shooting performance. 16 of his 30 have come in the fourth quarter. Here's Kenny Williams, rebounded by Charles Oakley. Indiana has outscored the Knicks 20-3 in the fourth. Well, apparently they changed that last shot to a two-pointer. He had stepped on the line. All right, here's Hopper for 3. Indiana leads by 5. Miller's in his last 4 shots. Here's Miller for 3. Yes! Oh, Pat Riley calls for time. Just an astounding shooting exhibition being put on by Reggie Miller. And now we're told they did not change it to a three-point shot. Here's a look at the last 3 by Reggie Miller, but it appeared that Miller did step on the line. This a previous shot. All right, Miller teeing it up, Matt. Put on the line. That should have been a 2, but they counted it as a 3.
Well, again, that time, Dale Davis out of control on a fast break, jumped in the air and had to twist his body in a very awkward position to throw it outside to Reggie Miller. And for some unknown reason, Charles Smith was just running away, and there was Reggie Miller standing wide open. Anybody on the Knicks is going to have to find this guy and stay with him and try and deny him the basketball. The craziest thing was the play before Kenny Williams took a shot. I don't know why.
Reggie Miller, 42% from three-point land for the season. First 2 rounds, you see he shot well. Not the case going into today, but tonight, 6 of 11 from three-point land. 5 for 5 from downtown in this fourth quarter. 19 points for Miller in the fourth. He has destroyed the Knicks, and the Knicks have gone cold. They're trailing by 8 points. Foul is called. Foul on Kenny Williams. Correction, it's on LaSalle Thompson. And now Antonio Davis will come on, along with Derek McKee and LaSalle Thompson being greeted back at the bench. What a terrific effort. The type of effort that will not show up on the stat sheet.
Well, his main job was to put that big body on the baseline and knock people off to get Reggie Miller those clean looks. And Reggie, of course, has done the rest.
Hopper through the foul. Meanwhile, Patrick Ewing has attempted only 2 shots in the second half. He is 0 for 2 from the field. This after the strong first half.
Well, they can't get the ball to Patrick Ewing. It's a 23-3 run. This ball game started out as the Knicks ran off and led 28-16, only led by 8 points at the halftime. And Larry Brown told Ahmad that he said to his team, hey, for as poorly as we played and missing free throws, we're not in such bad shape. Let's just try to hang around and give ourselves a chance in the fourth quarter.
Reggie Miller with 24 of his 33 points in the second half, 19 here in the fourth quarter. 23-5. Reggie Miller with 19 of the 23 Indiana points. Pacers lead 81-75. 5:25 to go in the fourth. A remarkable turnaround by Indiana. And it will be Nick Ball. Last touch by Workman. Larry Brown not happy with that call.
The Knicks getting a little dose of the Pacers' medicine right back, and Patrick Ewing this time fronted Smith, and he did not step out to protect the passer.
Rick Smith's playing with 5 fouls. Starks with the dunderway move on Miller for 3. On the back tap. Knicks recover. Oakley for Ewing. Patrick Ewing going glass. Cuts it to a 4-point Indiana lead.
Patrick was thinking tomahawk dunk that time, but he got resistance from Smith as Harper gets nailed in the backcourt.
Harper got picked off. Miller looking for the shot, does not force it. Shot clock is at 10. Here's Smiths drawing a double team, finding Workman. Shot clock at 5. Workman had it knocked away, then recovered. McKee with the setup. Davis slipped. And it's a 24-second violation. What an aggressive defensive sequence that was.
And now the Pacers, for some unknown reason, trying to go inside to Rick Smith and going away from the hot hand Reggie Miller, and the aggressive New York defense is taking advantage of it.
The Knicks are only 1 of 6 from the field here in the fourth. Harper and Starks at the guard. Ewing, Smith, Oakley on the front line. We come up on 4 minutes to go. Ewing fouled by Smith, and that is 6th.
That time, Patrick Ewing fought for it and got good position, and knowing Rick Smith's in foul trouble and about to foul out, just dipped that shoulder and took it hard to the hole. The first clean catch by Patrick Ewing in the post in quite some time.
So Rick Smith with only 6 points and 2 rebounds. So that means a matchup of Antonio Davis, at least for the moment. Earlier, Larry Brown did go with the veteran, the 6'10" LaSalle Thompson. Ewing, 7 of 8 from the line, 23 points. The Knicks in the first half led by as many as 16. Indiana with the tear here in the fourth quarter. And now the Knicks coming back down by 2. 81-79. Harper hand-checking Workman. The champ of defense. Harper going for the steal, made contact, and he is called for the foul. His 4th.
Well, Workman, who has been pressured all night long and very well by Derek Harper, that time just wearing Derek Harper down and finally beating him on the dribble. And I think Harper just got tired and just reached in and grabbed.
The Knicks with their 4th team foul. Indiana with 5. Again, the pressure. Workman finally gets it back. Miller tried to come off the pick, lost the dribble. Oakley dives for it. Starks try to save it from a backcourt violation, and now it is a backcourt violation. Or let's see, perhaps a 24-second violation. Yes, they reset the 24. And it will be Pacer ball.
I guess they're going to rule that Charles Oakley had possession as he dove for that ball, but the Knicks did a much better job that time. Reggie Miller was coming off a double stagger screen, and Charles Oakley showed way out, which made Reggie Miller fumble that ball.
Timeout taken. 3 minutes, 40 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. They've changed to a 20-second timeout. Pacers take a 20. Indiana now holding on to a 2-point lead.
Well, there, Reggie Miller fumbled that ball against the good defense of John Starks, and you really couldn't see Oakley, but he was the one who forced Reggie to fumble it. And on that dive and catch, they ruled a change of possession, and as Charles Oakley tried to throw it back to John Starks, referee Joey Crawford realized that the shot clock had not changed, and that's why he blew the whistle.
Well, for the Knicks, another eventful game number 5. Earlier, we showed you the highlight of last last season's Game 5 between the Knicks and the Bulls in the conference finals. And remember, the Knicks had won the first 2 games of the series a year ago against the Bulls and then lost 4 in a row. Now, that was Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, but here are the Knicks faced with the same prospect. They win the first 2, lose the next 2, trailing here in Game 5.
Well, they came out ready to play, had a very good first half, but it's a 48-minute game, and these lulls come for all teams, and we'll see if the Knicks can withstand it.
Ball wanted to travel on the key. Miller pumps and hits again. 35 for Reggie Miller. 14 of 26 from the field. 21 of the 35 have come here in the fourth quarter. The playoff record most points in a quarter is 29. Eric Sleepy Floyd did it for Golden State back in May of '87. And Reggie Miller with 21 in the fourth. Indiana leads by 4. Starks with the reverse. Rebound Oakley. And then picked up by McKee. Just under 3 minutes to go. In this fourth quarter, it is a wild finish with the Pacers turning it around, and they extend the lead as Dale Davis hits his 3rd field goal to give the Pacers a 6-point advantage.
But when a great offensive player has it going, there is not a whole lot you can do except keep the ball out of his hands. John Starks draped all over Reggie Miller, face in his hands, still can't stop it.
2:45 remaining in the fourth. It has been a very impressive performance by the Pacers here in the fourth quarter. An Indiana club that has won only 2 of the last 33 here at Madison Square Garden, but an Indiana team that has been potent at home. They've not only won during the course of the playoffs, but they have won big most of the time, making these final 2 minutes and 45 seconds critical for the New York Knicks. They're down 85 to 79 with 2:35 remaining now, with Harper moving to the top of the circle. Starks for Oakley. Open shot. Charles Oakley not able to hit. And it's run down by Reggie Miller. And a foul is called, a push on Patrick Ewing. Both teams are over the foul limit.
Well, Reggie, a quicker of foot than Patrick Ewing, able to chase down that loose ball in the right corner, was trying to, I think, call timeout to prevent a turnover, but he got a break there as he got shoved by Patrick Ewing. The 3-point game of the Indiana Pacers has been dormant throughout this series. Just 3 for 21 coming into this game, but it has come alive with this man. 6 for 11 today. When you put him on the free throw line, a 91% shooter for the year, and shooting that in this series as well.
Indiana has outscored the Knicks 28-9 in the fourth. Reggie Miller now with 23 of Indiana's 29 points in the fourth quarter. And Indiana leads by 8. You mentioned Eric Sleepy Floyd, most points in a quarter in the playoffs with 29, and Reggie Miller is right on track. Pacers with an 87-79 lead. A Knick collapse here in the fourth. Charles Smith, rebounded by Derek McKee.
Well, it's partly a Knicks collapse, but you have to give a lot of credit to the Indiana Pacer defense. They out-nicked the Knicks in this fourth period, started it with their pressure defense, and just kept preventing the ball from going into Patrick Ewing, and the Knick defense became stagnant.
Here's Miller for 2. A rare miss for Reggie Miller. Harper pushes it down. Harper, and he is fouled. Domino effect back behind the basket. Hopper taking McKee and Smith with him.
Well, nothing much working for the Knicks, so Derek Harper trying to put it on his shoulders to create something on a kind of open floor situation and take the ball to the basket, looking for a 3-point play. John Starks, throughout a lot of this second half, because he had some success shooting 3-pointers, maybe he started looking for too many of them. That play before, where he just comes off the Ewing screen at about 16, 17 feet, is normally a good play for John Starks and Patrick Ewing. The Knicks have not run it enough.
Foul was called on Antonio Davis, his 5th. 6-point lead for the Pacers. Minute 34 remaining. Indiana with a 29-11 edge on the Knicks here in the fourth. The Knicks have hit only 1 of 9 from the field. Miller checked the basket. 8 on the shot clock. Dumps it off for Antonio Davis, who gets inside. Antonio Davis protecting the ball and extends to an 8-point Pacer lead. A shocking finish here in the fourth quarter. Indiana by 8. We come up on a minute to go. Offensive foul. It's on Patrick Ewing.
Patrick stepping out to try to free up John Starks for a 3-point shot, leaning into Reggie Miller, who does the little Hollywood job of acting to fall down hard. Patrick Ewing not agreeing with the call. Take another look. And I could see why Patrick would disagree with that call. Seemed to be standing still and holding that screen.
Well, Art Knick fans, Knick historians would compare this Indiana performance, and if they hold on for the victory, to one game in Knick history, but hopefully with a steal, then McKee wraps it up and they'll jump it up. You'd have to go back to April of 1971 when a highly favored New York Knicks team, the year after they won their first championship, talking of the Knicks of Willis Reed and Walt Frazier and Dave DeBusschere and Dick Barnett and Bill Bradley, lost to the Bullets in a huge upset in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final right here at Madison Square Garden. They lost by 2 points, and the crowd sat stunned. This is the closest to that moment. Still 53 seconds remaining, though. We'll be right back. This time 1 for 9 in the fourth quarter. Outscored 31-11 by the Pacers in the fourth. A spectacular performance by Reggie Miller. 14 of 26 overall, 37 points, 23 of his 37 in the fourth. Overall, he's hit 6 from downtown. Here's Ewing. Patrick Ewing gets inside. Like Antonio Davis was shaken up as he was picked off, hurt his elbow. Timeout is called by the Pacers with 45 seconds remaining in the fourth, and Indiana up by 6, and both teams are down to 1 timeout left.
Well, on the jump ball, Antonio Davis battling with Patrick Ewing as they get all tangled up, and as Davis hit the deck, he either bruised that elbow or caught the funny bone, as he's still in a lot of pain over on the Indiana Pacer bench.
Still 45 seconds remaining, but if the Indiana Pacers hold on and defeat the New York Knicks, they would be in position to make it back from 0-2 to win a best of 7. Game number 6 coming up back at Indianapolis on Friday night. These are the teams that have come back from 0-2 deficits, including the Chicago Bulls against the New York Knicks in the Eastern Finals a year ago, and Houston did it against Phoenix in the Western semifinals this season.
Well, a couple of interesting statistics. The Pacers had the rebounding edge throughout the ballgame, but it didn't seem to be that important because it looked like the Knicks were in control of the ballgame, and also Indiana had kicked the ball all over the place. Now that statistic is all tied up at 18 each. But throw those statistics out the window. They're kind of a trend, but the biggest statistics are the ones that Reggie Miller put up in the fourth period, and of course the Pacer defense in that fourth quarter.
Reggie Miller telling us before the game that he felt that this was the biggest game of his basketball career. Well, that'll be until Friday night, which will probably amount to the same type of situation. But this is the pivotal 5th game of a best of 7. And for the NBA franchise history of the Pacers, Larry Brown felt it certainly represents the biggest game for this franchise.
Well, still a lot of time left in this one with 45 seconds, a 6-point lead for Indiana. We've seen crazier things happen. And then even if Indiana does hold on and win it, of course, things aren't over. The New York Knicks, who have not been a good road playoff team, only winning that one in New Jersey, but, you know, they'll come in all fired up.
Hopper gets the foul, stopping the clock, Workman will go to the line. Indiana Pacers with the lead despite the awful free throw shooting. 9 of 22 from the line. Workman is usually solid at the line. He's 2 for 2 here tonight.
Reggie Miller had one more parting shot. He probably will have a few more for Spike Lee as he walked by. He probably said, hey, can you come to Indiana on Fridays? Yes.
And the Pacers now lead 90-83. Here's Dale Davis replacing Derek McKee. Apparently McKee remains on the floor.
Larry going a little offense-defense, wanting to keep his best foul shooters on the floor when they have possession, and at the other end wanting to get his better defensive players, obviously.
So he has McKee, Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, along with Workman and Miller. 35 seconds remaining, fourth quarter. Indiana leads by 8. The steal by Miller. Starks recovers. And Antonio Davis gets to it. Gets it over to Miller. So the Knicks turn it over. And the Knicks are hearing boos from the crowd. The Indiana Pacers with 21 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter lead by 8. And they are headed back to the line as Charles Oakley was called for the foul.
Ball knocked loose from John Starks. Everybody getting on the floor going after this as Reggie Miller knocks it loose one time. Antonio Davis is going to set it free as well as John Starks diving over. And then Reggie Miller will get hit very hard by Charles Oakley on the intentional foul to put him on the line. And one more shot. That's Spike Lee.
38 points for Miller. 24 in the fourth quarter. And the Pacers now lead by 10. 93-83. Starks for 3. And Matt, this will go down as a very dark day in New York Knicks history. The Indiana Pacers are celebrating over at the bench. A remarkable turnaround effort by the Pacers, doing it in New York, where they had lost 11 in a row, 31 of 33. The Knicks will have many questions to answer after this one as Ewing hits a three-pointer. It's a 7-point Pacer lead, and that is the final score as Reggie Miller spikes it to conclude matters. He finishes with 39 points, 25 in the fourth quarter, only 4 away from an NBA playoff record that is held by Eric Sleepy Floyd. 14 for 26, 5 for 5 from three-point range in the fourth quarter, and Reggie is with them on.
All right, thanks, Marv. Reggie, what a performance you put on here tonight. 37 points, 23 in the fourth quarter. You guys really came out ready to play.
No, we didn't come out ready to play.
You finished very well.
Mentally, we were into the game, but you know, you got to give New York credit. They came out hard. They wanted to keep home court advantage, but all we wanted to do was stick around, hang around. If we got it close, we know there were going to be a lot of heavy arms over there, and we did a good job of doing that.
Team showed a lot of confidence by coming through, because the Knicks, the way they started, looked like we're going to blow you right out of the gym.
Well, like I said, they came out with high intensity. We came out very flat, but like I said, we just wanted to hang around. A lot of guys were tight, and I couldn't make any of my early jumpers. I just wanted to stay kind of in the mix, and things just fell for us.
What about Spike Lee?
Spike who?
We will see you on Friday.
All right.
All right. Good luck to you. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, one of the great playoff performances in the history of the NBA. 25 of his 39 in the fourth quarter. Indiana outscored the Knicks 35-16 in the fourth. That's the